stuff that he think I don't know about, or he think he got one up on me. I don't know. He think he got a move somewhere. I told him I got a move.
The boxing world is in shock as reports confirm that Gervonta Tank Davis has been placed in federal custody over allegations of match fixing in his highly debated fight against Lamont Roach Jr. Just days after rumors of an investigation started spreading, the situation has escalated even further.
Hopefully the commission gets this right. It was a bummer not being declared the winner on a technicality that could be righted, that wrong could be righted, obviously, in different ways.
It all began with reports suggesting that referee Steve Willis provided crucial details backing claims of fight manipulation. Fans and analysts were already puzzled by the majority draw decision, believing Lamont Roach Jr. had done enough to win. Now, with federal authorities stepping in, those suspicions seem to have been well-founded.
So, I think Lamont Roach, I think he landed more punches throughout the fight. I think Tank was used to, figuring it out, having that slow start, figuring it out around the third, fourth round. And I think
from the final bell, controversy surrounded the fight's outcome. Roach seemed to outwork Davis in multiple rounds, with many believing he clearly won. But the real turning point came in the 9th round. Davis unexpectedly took a knee during the action. Referee Steve Willis initially appeared to start a count, but then suddenly changed his mind, ruling it wasn't a knockdown. That single decision altered everything. Had Willis counted it, Roach would have won the round 10-8, likely securing victory on the scorecards. Instead, the call favored Davis, leading to a draw that left Roach in disbelief and fans outraged.
Oh no. What's your thoughts when you first heard that?
That they wasn't gonna overturn it?
Yeah.
I mean, I expected that. I don't really see them doing that. Tank is too big of an attraction. New York. I felt like for a while.
Davis's explanation for taking the knee was nothing short of bizarre. He claimed that his freshly greased hair caused sweat to drip into his eyes, burning them and forcing him to kneel. Fans didn't buy it, calling it one of the most ridiculous excuses they'd ever heard from a fighter. Critics pointed out that boxers deal with sweat and even blood in their eyes all the time, yet none simply dropped to a knee mid-fight. Roach was furious, stating, "If you take a knee, that's a knockdown. That's just the rules. The ref started counting, so why did he stop? They stole this from me." His team quickly filed an official complaint with the New York State Athletic Commission, demanding a full review of the fight and the officiating. But the controversy didn't end there.
He take a knee. You need to lose like 10-8 that round at least, no? And plus the corner go up and put it a towel in the face. That's a disqualification for sure. I'm talking about the rules.
What made things even more suspicious was a chilling remark Davis allegedly made to Roach on fight night. He reportedly told him, "They ain't gonna give it to you." At the time, many thought he was simply referring to the usual boxing politics, where the A-side fighter often gets the edge. But now, with match-fixing allegations surfacing, that statement has taken on a whole new meaning. Did Davis already know the outcome before the fight even began? Was the result predetermined? These unsettling questions have now sparked a full-scale federal investigation.
So to me, I thought I won the fight. Clearly, I thought I won a close fight. I thought I won a very competitive fight. Okay. I'm not saying I steamrolled him or whatever, but
federal authorities got involved after Roach's legal team enlisted high-profile attorneys to push for a deeper investigation into the fight's outcome. They highlighted unusual betting activity before the fight, with a significant amount of money being placed on a draw, one of the rarest results in boxing. This raised major red flags. Investigators began looking into whether inside information had been leaked to bettors who knew in advance that the fight would end in a draw. Then came the biggest shock, the revelation that referee Steve Willis had provided crucial information to authorities.
It should have been a knockdown, one. So that's why I'm yelling at the referee, like, keep counting. Like, you tripping, keep counting. That's a knockdown.
Because if y'all didn't notice, he started the count.
While the full details of Willis's statement haven't been made public, sources say he confirmed that external influences affected his decisions during the fight. That was enough for federal agents to take action against Davis. His arrest has shocked the boxing world. Although Davis has faced legal issues before, this could be the most serious case of his career.
He wasn't coming to lay down. I've been knowing Lamont since we was kids, so we came up in amateurs together. So I knew Lamont was serious. He was coming there.
The allegations turn out to be true. Davis could face more than just a suspension from boxing. He could be looking at serious criminal charges that might put him behind bars. Boxing insiders are already debating what this means for his future. Some believe this could mark the beginning of the end for Davis, while others think his team, led by Al Heyman and premier boxing champions, will do everything possible to protect him and keep his career alive. But even if he avoids legal consequences, the damage to his reputation might be permanent.
I feel like when my back is against the wall or against the ropes, it's like, it's time to show up. So it wasn't really hard for me to focus because all I had to do was do.
Social media has erupted over the news, with fighters and boxing personalities sharing their reactions. Devin Haney, one of Davis's biggest rivals, didn't hold back, posting, "Damn, first he fakes injuries to duck fights, now he's fixing fights. Ain't no way y'all still rocking with this dude." Oscar De La Hoya, a longtime critic of Davis, tweeted, "I've been saying it for years. Tank is protected. The truth always comes out." Even veteran boxing analyst Teddy Atlas, known for his blunt opinions, called the situation a disgrace to the sport.
I'm still rooting with him. I saw the negativity and people, critics talking, but I think he's one hell of a fighter, and I think he's still the top dog.
To make things even worse, Davis has been removed from several boxing rankings. Ring Magazine officially dropped him from their pound-for-pound list, replacing him with David Benavidez. The backlash is already hitting his career hard, and if the investigation uncovers more evidence, it could get even worse. There's growing talk that the New York State Athletic Commission might revisit the fight and potentially void the result entirely. If that happens, Roach could be declared the rightful winner. Not only would Davis lose his status as one of boxing's top fighters, but he could also be stripped of his championship belts.
They reversed the result of your fight.
Yeah.
Should they reverse the result of that fight as well?
It just depends. Like if that changes the whole fight, if that gives Roach a victory, give him the victory. That's how you keep the integrity of the sport, right? That's why they suspended me, right, to keep the integrity of the sport. So
as Davis sits in federal custody awaiting his next legal hearing, the big question is whether he can fight his way out of this, or if this will be the moment that ends his career. If investigators have enough evidence to charge him with match fixing, he could be facing more than just a ban from boxing. He could be looking at real jail time. Some are already comparing this to past boxing scandals, drawing parallels to how Floyd Mayweather was accused of influencing judges and referees throughout his career. But while Mayweather was never caught in anything this serious, Davis may not be so lucky. If the allegations hold up, this could go down as the biggest scandal in modern boxing history.
He caught me with a good shot, but it was times that I sat in there with him and I'm like, damn, this guy like super slow. Well, not super slow, but he's slow, and I could have took advantage of. I think I was boxing too much in the beginning. And when I feel like
Gervonta Davis is in deeper trouble than anyone expected, and now the boxing world is divided on whether he can recover or if his career is permanently damaged. Rolly Romero, a former opponent of Davis, believes Tank can bounce back in a rematch, but his comments have sparked controversy. Speaking to The Ring, Romero said Davis has the ability to make adjustments and win a rematch, adding that Roach's performance was so unexpected that even Roach himself might not have seen it coming. That statement raised eyebrows. Was Romero implying that Roach just got lucky? Because if there's one thing boxing fans agree on, it's that Roach was the better fighter that night. It wasn't luck. It wasn't a fluke.
Tank, you lost that fight. I mean, the only reason they gave you the fight was because you would make more money as a champion, but there's no way it's a draw and they didn't call the knockdown. If they called a knockdown, you lost.
Roach outclassed Davis and might have won if not for some questionable officiating. Now, with Davis under federal investigation for match fixing, Romero's comments carry even more weight. The way Romero describes Roach's performance makes it seem like a once-in-a-lifetime showing, something Roach could never repeat, but was that really the case? Roach didn't just get lucky with a few punches. He controlled large parts of the fight, made Davis uncomfortable, and exposed weaknesses no one had truly tested before. By downplaying Roach's performance, Romero might be trying to protect his own loss to Davis. After all, if Roach, who was never considered an elite fighter, gave Davis so much trouble, what does that say about Romero, who got knocked out in the 6th round when he faced Davis in 2022?
That people want to discredit Tank, he's still a pound-for-pound fighter.
Yeah. What do you think about that fight that happened? You thought it was just an off night, or?
Everybody has an off night. Everybody has an off night. Shit, I had a off night with Cruz.
Even more controversial was how Romero reacted to the knee incident. He flat out said that none of the punches landed when Davis unexpectedly took a knee mid-fight. That's a bold claim, especially since Davis insisted he went down because sweat got in his eyes. But if another boxer, someone who knows what it's like in the ring, says there were no punches, then why did Davis drop to his knee in the first place? That question remains unanswered. Even more puzzling, why did the referee start counting, then suddenly stop? Romero himself admitted that if the knee had been ruled a knockdown, Davis would have lost. That alone shows how critical that single moment was in deciding the outcome of the fight. But let's be real, something about this doesn't add up.
Punches are being thrown, it has to be a knockdown. I've heard some people saying, oh, that, you know, he should be disqualified, he went back to the corner, I don't buy that, to be honest with you. I mean, I think that's a warning. But it's a bit of a bizarre situation. For me, like, there's a lot of people in boxing.
What Romero didn't say is just as telling as what he did. He completely avoided the fact that Davis's name has come up in a federal investigation over fight-fixing allegations. He didn't mention how Davis allegedly told Roach before the fight, "They ain't going to give it to you." He also ignored the growing speculation that the unusual betting patterns on a draw weren't just a coincidence. Instead, he stuck to the narrative that Davis simply had a rough night and would make adjustments. But let's be real, how can Davis even focus on a rematch when he might be facing criminal charges? That's the real question.
Hey, can't even see who it is. Yeah. Who is the dude? Who is the dude?
And that right there.
Ryan Garcia, another former opponent of Davis, also weighed in on the rematch talk. Speaking to ES News, Garcia said he believes Davis will win the second fight, arguing that Tank simply underestimated Roach and expected him to fold. But that brings up an even bigger question. Why did Davis expect Roach to fold? The most likely answer? He knew something the rest of us didn't. If Davis went into the fight believing the decision was already in his favor, it makes sense that he wouldn't fight with the same urgency or train as hard. And that's exactly what played out in the ring. Davis fought like he had nothing to worry about, barely taking Roach seriously. But when Roach kept pressing forward, Davis looked lost, almost confused. It was one of the worst performances of his career, and Garcia's claim that he was simply caught off guard doesn't tell the whole story.
Did you think it was a draw? No. Who you thought won? Who you thought won? Lamont. You thought Lamont won? By how many rounds? I don't know.
What makes this situation even messier is the $250K bet between Roach and Davis before the fight. Davis bet that he would knock Roach out, but when the fight ended in a draw, it was unclear if he ever paid up. If he hasn't, that adds another layer to the controversy. Think about it. Davis was willing to gamble 6 figures on an outcome. That never happened. Despite allegedly having inside knowledge of how the fight would play out, that alone raises serious red flags. And if he truly believed he was going to get the knockout, why did he fight with so little urgency? Why did he take a knee? None of it adds up, unless you start looking at the bigger picture. The good news for Roach is that a rematch is already in the works. whether it happens in 2024 or 2025. Both sides have shown interest in running it back, but the truth is, a second fight will only be fair if the corruption surrounding the first one is fully exposed. If Davis is found guilty of match fixing, how can anyone trust that the rematch will be any different? And more importantly, should he even be allowed to fight again? If he manipulated the outcome of a professional bout, shouldn't he be banned from the sport altogether? The worst part is that this controversy isn't just about one fight, it's hurting boxing as a whole. The sport is already struggling, with bad judging, shady business deals, and major fights taking years to happen. This only makes things worse.
We will never see that fight happen again. It just will not happen. Gervonta Tank Davis doesn't like hard fights. It's that simple. We've seen it over and over. He fought a Ryan Garcia drained. He fought a very inexperienced Rolly Romero. He will not fight Devin Haney. He will not fight Shakur. He will not fight Pitbull Cruz again.
If Gervonta Davis, one of boxing's biggest names, is involved in a match-fixing scandal, it would be a major hit to the sport's credibility. This would be even worse than the backlash over Floyd Mayweather's carefully selected opponents, or the controversy surrounding Canelo Alvarez's scorecards. This isn't just about biased judging, it's outright corruption, and if Davis is guilty, it points to a much deeper problem within boxing. Meanwhile, Davis is doing everything he can to manage the situation. Even while in remand, his team is working hard to push the idea that he's being unfairly targeted. But let's be honest, Davis has been caught up in too many controversies for this to be pure bad luck. From past legal issues to run-ins with the law, and now a federal investigation, this is starting to look like a pattern. Boxing fans are losing patience. Right now, Davis isn't just fighting in the ring, he's battling both in court and in the public eye.
I must say, do it enough.
Can you describe what the feeling was like in the ring? And was it to get the towel out, to get the burn out of your eyes, or what was going on? And
I didn't want to get caught. I didn't want to get caught while my eyes was burning. And you know, like, you can get knocked out like that. So I'd rather take the...
He's losing on both fronts. Even if he gets out and the rematch happens, his reputation is already damaged beyond repair. No matter what he does, there will always be doubts surrounding his name, and if he wins the rematch, critics will only see it as another questionable result. Meanwhile, Lamont Roach Jr. may have been robbed in the first fight, but he's gained something far more valuable: respect. He went from being the underdog, the fighter no one expected to win, to the man who exposed one of boxing's biggest stars. No matter what happens next, people will always remember the night Roach made. Gervonta Davis looked vulnerable.
You know it's time.
Can't wait.
You know it's time.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
You know it's time.
Can't wait.
You ready?
The rematch is almost set, and this time, the stakes are even higher. After their controversial first fight, which ended in a majority draw, Lamont Roach Jr.'s promoter, Gary Jonas, has confirmed that negotiations are nearly finalized. While he didn't disclose all the details, Jonas made it clear that the fight is close to being sealed, saying, "In my mind, it's a done deal, but there are formalities." That statement alone has sent shockwaves through the boxing world. Fans are now eagerly awaiting an official announcement, but at this point, it seems inevitable. The rematch is happening.
Nah, to be honest, I've already made it competitive, for real, to be honest. But for sure, Lamont is a great fighter. He got the skills, like I said.
Jonas also pointed out a key factor that could make a difference this time: Davis's mindset. You've got Gervonta, who's probably going to be angry, probably woken up, probably more focused. That's a big shift from how Davis approached the first fight. Before, he was talking about retirement, acting like he had nothing to prove and barely promoting the fight. Now, while his undefeated record remains intact on paper, his aura of invincibility has been shattered. This time, Davis has no choice but to be fully locked in. Anything less, and Roach Jr. might just finish what he started, walking away as the new WBA lightweight champion.
We literally saw the mental breakdown of Tank. Like, again, if you got that elite level Y, you know what you saw. He was intimidated by Roach, and it was like baffling to see. Why was he moving? Because to me, he was intimidated by Roach. To me,
of course, it wouldn't be a Gervonta Davis fight without controversy. The first bout between these two wasn't just close, it was packed with questionable decisions, with the most bizarre moment coming in the 9th round. That's when Davis unexpectedly took a knee, prompting referee Steve Willis to begin his count as if it were a knockdown. But after some pleading from Davis, Willis abruptly stopped mid-count and let the fight continue. Had he finished counting, Roach Jr. would have won by unanimous decision and been crowned the new champion. Instead, the fight went the distance and ended in a draw, an outcome that left Roach Jr. and his team furious.
But the thing about Tank, you can't count on Tank to get tired because his conditioning is out of this fucking world. He can fight 20, 30 rounds if he wants to. 12 rounds ain't shit. Tank can go. So, yeah, Lamont, he didn't do enough early.
Roach's team wasted no time filing an appeal with the New York State Athletic Commission, arguing that Davis's knee should have been ruled a knockdown. While the commission admitted that referee Steve Willis had made a mistake, they ultimately refused to overturn the decision. That only fueled frustration, confirming what many already suspected, that the system favors fighters like Davis. Roach Jr. made it clear he wasn't backing down, responding to rumors that he was suing over the result. He took to social media, writing, "Look man, I'm gonna tell y'all straight up, I ain't sue nobody. STFU, my team submitted an appeal on my behalf. What does it look like not having a team that doesn't pull that trigger on some that they know was wrong?" That post alone tells you everything you need to know about Roach Jr.'s mindset heading into the rematch. He believes he was robbed, and now he's coming back with even more motivation. The first time, he was expected to be just another name on Davis's resume, but instead, he exposed one of boxing's biggest stars. Now he's coming to finish the job. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates. See you in the next one.